Om Satchidananda Rupaya Vishvotpatyadi Hetave Tapatraya Vinashaya Shri Krishnaya Vayam Numaha. Janmadhyasya yatonvayadi taratascharteshvabhignaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yatsurayaha Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Mrisha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Dharma Projita Ketavotra Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam Vedyam Vastavamatra Vastu Shivadam Tapatrayon Mulanam Srimad Bhagavate Mahamunikrite Kim Va Parerishwaraha Sadyo Hridyavarudyate Trakritibihi Shushrushubi Tachanat. With your eyes still closed, give thanks to the Creator and feel how your purpose is to serve and help His creation. Hari Om and greetings from Niagara Falls. A personality classification for you. You classify yourself based on this framework. One section of people are liberated. You're all thinking, that's where I fit in. Don't worry about the other sections. The next group of people want to be liberated. The third group of people do not want to be liberated. So are, want, do not want. For all of these personalities, Srimad Bhagavatam is fulfilling who they are. For those who are liberated, Bhagavatam is the best. This is their biography, their experience. For those who want to be liberated, Bhagavatam is the best. So much Katha, so much Vedanta. For those who do not want to be liberated, Bhagavatam is the best. because this is most interesting. Suras, asuras, time travel. But there's a fourth type. They're known as Pashugnat. Pashugnat literally means those who kill animals. But more so, it's this butcher mentality that creation is to serve me. Only such personalities, they can't relate to Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam has nothing to offer them. I know we all fit into category 1 and 2. Yes, we are liberated or want to be liberated. A seeker shared with me, based on last week's class and the details about Bhagavan Krishna's Leela, that she was looking on her keyboard for a va, va key. But there's no va, va key. This is what Bhagavatam is. Nothing is more va than Bhagavatam. Okay. Bhagavan Brahma thought he was the OG. You all know what OG means. You can do some research afterwards, but here's how you are to interpret it: the original God. Bhagavan Brahma thought he was the original God. And what did Bhagavan Krishna do? He didn't correct him with words. He corrected him with actions. Bhagavan Krishna became all of those calves that Bhagavan Brahma had put to sleep. Bhagavan Krishna became all of those kids that were looking after those calves while Bhagavan Brahma put them to sleep. And the reason he did this is to radiate joy. Think of the cows, how they would have felt knowing that their calf is Bhagavan Krishna. So more milk flowed. All of those families that felt their child is Bhagavan Krishna. We say that we feel that, but we definitely don't feel that. But in this case, they did. Bhagavan Krishna wanted to bring more joy to Bhagavan Brahma too. And that's such a subtle way of teaching. Instead of engaging in destructive criticism of Bhagavan Brahma, Bhagavan Krishna offered constructive criticism. Bhagavan Brahma then goes on to offer a stuti to Bhagavan Krishna and some of the deep Vedantic points. I'm going to speak it, you note it, and contemplate on this. Here are some. Bhagavan Brahma says, bondage and liberation are not facts. Are not facts. We very factually feel that we're bound and we're going to be liberated, but they're not facts. The point being, we're already free. We were never stuck. Another insight. He shares that Bhagavan Krishna, you are only light. There's only lumosity. And the point here is, there's no illumination. We always go into Vedanta with the perspective, this is the illuminator, this is the illuminated. But Bhagavan Brahma is saying there's only illumination. There's no illuminated, there's no illuminator, there is only light. Another insight. Bhagavan Krishna, you are the presence that we keep feeling and describing as I. What a deep feeling. When you say I, when you think I, what is that? Bhagavan Brahma is saying, that is Bhagavan Krishna. Another insight, which I shared with you last week, Bhagavan Brahma finally says, we are children, you are the womb, and we keep kicking you like I've just done. And you be that gracious mother who naturally forgives the child that is kicking. And obviously, Bhagavan Krishna forgave him. And all of those calves and all of those kids came out of their sleep and they felt like they were not present for a moment. Even though an entire year had passed, but Bhagavan Krishna made them feel it was like a moment. There's movies like that, right? I think Men in Black is like that, where they put that beam near your head and you forget stuff. Bhagavan Krishna can do that naturally. Now, a brief review before we continue. If you think of Bhagavan Shiva's family, what does Bhagavan Shiva ride as his vehicle, as his vahana? Share with me. A cow. And his Devi Parvati, what does she ride? So Bhagavan Shiva is on a bull, and Devi Parvati, some say a lion, some say a tiger. I don't think bulls and tigers like each other. Yes, I'm not a zoologist, but I don't think they can be in the same cage. Okay, what about their kids? What does Bhagavan Kartikeya ride? A peacock. And what does Bhagavan Ganesha use? A mouse. I don't think they can be in the same cage either, correct? Peacocks and mice. But you see, their family, because there's happiness, all of those animals get along well. Now, what we're going through, asuras can come in lots of forms, such as a Devi. Remember Putana? She came in most beautiful. A cart. So your shopping cart, next time you feel that's an asura, just get rid of it. Whatever you need, you put in your hands and that's it. A tornado. We've also met an asura in the form of a tornado. Then, what was the other one? A calf. Also a calf. And a crane. And a python. A deva. As a deva also, Bhagavan Brahma is not an asura, but for our study, vices can also come in the form of Bhagavan Brahma. Yes, arrogance. And now we are going to come across a donkey. Remember this framework because vices can come in any form. That's the point I'm trying to make. Skanda 10, Adhyaya 15, Shloka 37. 10, 15, 37. Rishi Shuka continues to explain to Raja Parikshita the Leelas of Bhagavan Krishna. Tam stan apatata Krishno Ramascha Nripalilaya Grihita Paschacharanan Prahinotrana Rajasu. What's described here is when this donkey had turned around and kicked its back legs out, Balarama caught those legs and spun around that donkey and threw that donkey to the top of a palm tree. So this is, I don't know if it's called foreshadowing, but you tell the end and go back. I like this system of study. So what happened? Firstly, some commentators describe Bhagavan Krishna's life in two parts. The earlier part is called Purva, and that is when he is up to the age of 10. And then Uttara is after that, obviously. And I feel this dissection is, before 10, his lifestyle is fairly simple. Living in the jungle, having fun, even though it's quite serious. There's assassination attempts all the time. But this is the simpler part. Then after that, the more complex part continues, that we're more exposed to. Bhagavan Krishna's family is thinking lots about who he is now. Before they felt he was just a child, but now they're thinking, he must be more. Exactly what Prince Arjuna goes through. He's my cousin, but now he must be more. Here are some more insights into their dialogue about Bhagavan Krishna. Write it and contemplate on it. All of this is deep Vedanta. One of the insights, Rishi Shuka is telling Raja Parikshita that anyone who is born in Vrindavana is most fortunate. Why? Because imagine all of the things that Bhagavan Krishna touched. The ground, the trees, the water. That's the hand of God. We have brought this to a much more slang sense that Maradona, he scored through the hand of God, and that's fine in a sports sense. But this is the factual hand of God, and this is also a reason why Bhagavan Krishna moved around Vrindavana so much. To just keep on blessing. In fact, this is the basis for Holi. Holi is where you take the dust from Bhagavan Krishna's feet. He's walked everywhere on red flowers and brown soil. And you take that and you feel that joy and you share it with others. Another insight. Those who lived around Bhagavan Krishna unreservedly put all that they were and had at his disposal. Their materials, their children, their minds. So though they are farmer folk, but imagine the shraddha, the trust they have in Bhagavan Krishna. Do we have that? We love to chant Tan Man Dhan Sab Kuch Tera. But do we feel it? Another. Bhagavan Krishna was really the servant of all of the people he interacted with. Anything they asked for, he would do it. And this shows that higher than moksha is bhakti. When Bhagavan becomes your servant, that is called bhakti. But you have to become his servant first, correct? I would rather just he be my servant. I don't want to be anyone's servant. Another insight. Remember when Bhagavan Krishna became those calves and those kids? We all love ourselves the most. We do anything and everything for ourselves, but those people in Vrindavana, the way that they love themselves, they also love those calves and kids. You have to contemplate on this. We keep saying we should love others the way we love ourselves. They did it. This was a fact in their lives. And one more. We often study that the cause pervades the effect. in Bhagavan Krishna's case, the cause was with them. The cause was actually there. This was not intellectual, this was experiential. More katha. Once Bhagavan Krishna and Balarama became 6 years old, they're 6 now, they were given the responsibility not just to tend to the calves, but now they could tend to the cows. So, they would go farther into the jungle. As they would travel into the jungle, Bhagavan Krishna would often imitate a peacock. He would find peacock feathers and put it on his body and dance like a peacock. You've all seen a peacock dance before. Can you see Bhagavan Krishna dancing right now as a peacock, this 6-year-old boy? Sometimes the cows would go further ahead because the boys would be playing. So Bhagavan Krishna would call each cow that went too far by its name in a cow-like way. You know, when I say, what does a cow sound like? We all go in a very pathetic way, moo. Like we're that cow from Kathopanishad. That cow that's dying. But he would call each cow by its name in the way that it wanted to hear. And it would turn around and run back to Bhagavan Krishna. Often in the middle of the day, when everyone was tired, Balarama would lie down and Bhagavan Krishna would massage his feet. Remember, like Sri Lakshmana did to Bhagavan Rama. Now Bhagavan Krishna is massaging Balarama's feet. And after he was relaxed, then Bhagavan Krishna would relax. And all of those kids, some would comb his hair, some would pat his cheeks, some would massage his fingers, some would blow a fan at him, some would sing his glories. And why did Bhagavan do this? Because he felt hot. I just told you he is light. You think he felt hot. Giving the opportunity for people to lose their minds in him. And these kids did. Now, one of these boys, he knew this jungle better than Bhagavan Krishna and said, in a distant area, there's a field of palm trees. And there's delicious palm fruits that grow there. But this whole field is protected, is cursed by a pack of donkeys. And he said, Bhagavan Krishna, I really want to eat palm fruit. So Bhagavan Krishna said, let's do it. So they all went into this field, and as soon as they got there, Dhenuka Asura. An Asura in the form of a donkey rushes towards Balarama, jumps up and kicks him in the chest. Have any of you ever been kicked by a horse or a donkey or a cow? Some have. Even when a cat gets too close to me, I run. I don't know what it's going to do with its claw. Leave alone a donkey actually hitting Balarama. And what did Balarama do? Just laughed. He just started going like this. Challenging. Dhenuka Asura. So what Dhenuka did was spun around, and this is the verse I just referenced, lifted its back legs up, and when it went to kick Balarama, what did he do? He grabbed those legs and spun that donkey around and threw it into the palm tree. And when the palm tree had that carcass on it, what happened to the palm fruits? They all started to fall. That's why they went there, correct? What an interesting way of getting those fruits. Now, Dhenuka had a large family, so many donkeys started coming out and trying to kick Bhagavan Krishna and Balarama. And they caught all of those asuras and threw them all into those palm trees. And what is described is it looked like the sky was of varied colors because there was a black donkey and a beige donkey and a purple donkey. And all of those kids enjoyed eating those fruits. So, let's think about what Dhenuka symbolizes. Any guesses? What does this asura in the form of a donkey? And I think there's an abbreviation for the word donkey that starts with A and ends in S. I'm not really sure clearly what that is, but you can infer. Lazy, anger, hoarding, arrogance, reacting. All correct. But what I've been taught is hoarding. Hoarding. That's why no one could go to this field and no one could eat those fruits. Hoarding. How we can relate to this. When you still think that some combination or permutation of articles is going to make you happy, what do? You keep on bringing more and keeping more. When you think that. But what eventually happens, whatever you're hoarding starts to kick you. True? It gets old. That's one way. It requires more money to keep. That thinking, you start to get kicked by the same. And eventually when we're kicked enough, instead of hoarding, what do? Sharing. In hoarding, I get. In sharing, I give. And in doing so, I also get. So a very simple way to defeat this asura, aparigraha. Graha means to hold. Parigraha means to hold with one's life. The prefix a, do not hold with your life. Rather, give with your life. And I've shared this in different ways. Another way to practice this, whatever you have right here, right now, use it fully. Before you bring in any more hats, before you bring in another broom, whatever in your living space, make sure you've used what's already there, including your altar. Before you bring in more icons to your altar, have you developed a relationship with every icon there? Some seekers' altars are like a grocery store. 50 brands of cereal, 50 icons to connect with. One more shloka, taking us to one of the most beautiful facets of Bhagavatam. I'll build it up so that you can be surprised by this. The 10th skanda, the 16th adhyaya, the 63rd shloka, 10, 16, 63. This is Bhagavan Krishna speaking to, you'll find out. Dvipam ramanakam hitva hridam etam upashitaha yadbhayatsa suparnastvam nadyanmat pada lanchitam. Bhagavan Krishna is saying to Kalia. You know that Indian villain, Kalia? He's saying to that Indian villain, Kalia, you had to leave Ramanakam. This is a place where Kalia used to live because of Suparna. Do you know who Suparna is? Suparna means the one with beautiful feathers. That is a name for Garuda. Garuda. Because of Garuda, you left Ramanakam. But now, that your head has the markings of my feet, Garuda will not bother you. You have nothing to fear. Garuda is the vehicle for Bhagwan Narayana, a vehicle. Because I believe there's an airline called Garuda. This is not so modern, okay? I'll let you know when that modern reference comes. Bhagwan Krishna one morning decides to take the cows out for grazing, and he wakes up all of his friends to go with him other than Balarama. And after a long day of walking, they end up near the Yamuna, and those boys, those girls, they start to wash their face and drink that water, and as soon as they do, they all died. These children have gone through such struggles, no? Put to sleep, now they've died. And Bhagavan Krishna knew what happened. And so he simply looked at all of their corpses, and they all came back to life. There is Amrita in the bottom of the ocean, but there's Amrita in Bhagavan's eyes too. In the river Kalindi, there's a cave, a cavern. And near this cavern, the water is boiling. Boiling from the poison that is being infused into this water. Like a TV show where you see lava coming out and that water is boiling. That's how this was. And everything around this cavern was dead because even those water particles that would blow by the breeze would be carried, and the trees would die, the birds would die. And this poison was coming from Kaliya, a serpent that lived in this river. This river is actually the Yamuna. Another name is Kalindi. When Bhagavan Krishna sensed why these children had died, why these cows had died, and he brought them back, he knew he had to challenge Kaliya. And so what did he do? He started slapping his biceps and his thighs. Like the original wrestler, you know? Then he climbed up a tree and he dove into that water. See, we all hear different stories, right? They lost their ball in the river, so they went to get it. But this is coming from Bhagavatam, not from Vivek. But all of those kathas are right. And he dove into that water and he was splashing around like a champ. You know, if you ever tell a child not to splash, that's what Bhagavan Krishna was doing. Kicking his legs and moving his arms. And that infuriated Kaliya. So what did he do? He consciously bit Bhagavan Krishna in his vital parts. Like if you can think his neck and near his heart, his wrists, in his vital parts. And after that, he strangled Bhagavan Krishna, wrapped up all of his coils, and Bhagavan Krishna was just in that snake, motionless. And you have to see that. I'm not sure if you've ever seen someone dying before. I've seen someone drowning before. And by the grace of God, I and my cousin were able to find him and pull him out, but he was blue. And I'm not saying that poetically or dramatically. He was literally blue and unmoving until we started resuscitating him. And that was Bhagavan Krishna, but in the middle of this river. And when those cows saw their Bhagavan is just a zombie, they became unconscious. They just couldn't deal with it. And all of those animals, they were just lost. Just looking around, purposeless. And at the same time, where Bhagavan Krishna was living, Devi Yashoda, Devananda, they all started feeling fear. Seeing it, feeling it. And so they communicated with themselves, something wrong is happening. We need to go find our cows and our kids and Bhagavan Krishna. And everyone was rattled other than Balarama. This is all a leela for him. He was thinking, you're all being too dramatic. Pay attention to me. And so they started tracing where they went. And they were able to find Bhagavan Krishna because of the uniqueness of his footprints. On his foot, there's a symbol of a discus and a conch. And then they came to that river. They also saw Bhagavan Krishna dead, as if dead, with the snake. They saw the kids unconscious. They saw the animals lost. And they were frozen. I think we would all be the same way too. Finally, Devi Yashoda starts ripping away from people to go into that river. And her friends have to stop her. She's going to die too. Then Devananda tries to go in. And it was Balarama who had to stop him, saying, both of you are not to move. And when Bhagavan Krishna saw how devastated all of the humans and animals were, he felt enough of this leela. And he started expanding his body. And all of those coils of the snake, he just was able to release himself from that. Then what he was doing, in the water, he was swimming in circles. And what was Kaliya doing? Also swimming in circles. So now they're about to fight it out. And they're just circling each other. But Bhagavan Krishna has clarity. Kaliya does not. This has never happened before. And Bhagavan Krishna's fast. And he fastly climbed up onto one of the hoods of this snake. And when he was on that hood, what did he do? Started to dance. And this is amazing because the water is moving, Kaliya is moving, and he's still able to dance in the best way. We have lots of Bharatanatyam dancers, etc. in this class. They don't stand a chance. They dance on hard professional stages. Think about where Bhagavan Krishna is dancing right now. Yes? And so when he started dancing, all of the devas in the heavens, they all came there and started playing their instruments. Someone was playing the mridangam, someone was playing the tabla. So Bhagavan really got into it. Others who are not musically inclined like me, they started throwing flowers and other things to be part of this celebration. And Bhagavan Krishna was literally trampling the heads of Kaliya. When one was trampled and another came up, he simply shifted onto that head and started trampling that head, that hood. Soon, Kaliya started to bleed from every orifice. Ears, eyes, nose, mouth, bleeding everywhere. And when he started to become so weak, he started to reflect on who he thought he was and who this boy is on top of him. And in that reflection, he came to the clarity that he is limited and the one dancing on him is not a 6-year-old boy, but this is the infinite. And then he fainted. Kaliya fainted. Watching all of this is Kaliya's wives. And they rushed over to where Bhagavan Krishna is. And Kaliya, again, is just lying flat on the water. And they started sharing lovely Vedanta, which I'm now sharing with you. From Katha to Vedanta, all of these points you have to just scribble down and contemplate on them day by day. Here are some of these insights. They say to Bhagavan Krishna, our husband is blessed. Who else has so many footmarks on their being than our husband? He's drowning as if in this water, and the wives are saying how lucky he is. They say to Bhagavan, you are the one who resides in the elements. Now we study there's space and air and fire and water and earth, but we think they're separate from Bhagavan. They said you're the one who lives in these elements. So where is Bhagavan? Where is he not? They say, you are the seen and seer. All of our Drigdarsha Viveka students who are confused, here is your answer. When the seen and seer are the same, that is oneness. There's actually no seen and no seer then. If the seen and seer are the same, that means there is no seen, no seer. There's only light or being. They share, you are the manifestation of peace, so it is natural for you to forgive our husband. And that is a very true insight. Those who are peaceful forgive more easily, correct? When they shared all of this, it's as if Bhagavan released the pressure on Kaliya's body and he regained consciousness. And he's breathing hard. Kaliya's breathing hard. And he worshipped Bhagavan Krishna by circling around him. And then with his permission, started to go to Ramanaka island in the sea, taking with him his wives, children, and friends. So Bhagavan had told him, now that my feet are on your head, you have nothing to fear. So Kaliya had that opportunity to surrender himself to Bhagavan, and then he goes. From then, the Yamuna stopped being poisonous and started to become sweet. And Bhagavan Krishna swam to the shore. And all of those cows, all of those kids, all of those parents, you cannot describe their delight. One of the descriptions of Bhagavan's appearance that I love most in what I read was that his curly hair would be covered in dust. So though his hair is black, it would often appear beige because of all of that dust. And the attention with which everyone looked at Bhagavan Krishna, they had lost their hearts and their hearts had come back. Oh.